I recently had a person ask me if blocking people with opposing opinions is considered skeptical. This was from someone who was saying derogatory things about someone they disagreed with who blocked them.
It seems to be this confusion on YouTube and the internet about what free speech is. If I hold an open house for people in my neighborhood and someone who disagrees with me acts disruptive, is rude, and shouts over people, I'm going to ask that person to settle down or please leave, or if worse comes to worse, I will call the cops. If a person breaks the rules of my house, such as smoking inside, I'll also require them to leave. Am I suppressing that person's free speech? No, I'm practicing my freedom of speech because it's my property. Otherwise, I could go into your home and harass you. I don't socially talk to or hang out with people who like to argue for the sake of argument, or won't drop a subject I'm not in the mood to discuss. However, for some reason, the internet is this magical place to people where if you do what you would do in real life, it's suddenly blocking free speech if that person doesn't like how you behave on your property, which is your channel. Even if they're presenting something you completely agree with and block you, that's their complete constitutional right because that is their property and they can guard it as they like. I've only blocked 3 to 4 people in the entire time I've been on YouTube. They were trolls who would not drop a conversation. In the past year, however, having a bigger channel, I've had a higher traffic of people who disagree with me and want to argue, some rude with valid points, some frustrated that I don't agree with them, and some rude just to be rude. If I want to be open-minded enough, I have to figure out which ones are which. The bigger I've gotten, the more negativity I've gotten, and it really begins to affect your mood in real life. The day after posting the video on conferences, which I knew was going to be controversial, and a bunch of other micro-stressors from my life getting more and more busy, complicated and overwhelming, I spent the morning with mini panic attacks, and it pushed my hands into shaking while I was trying to do some very delicate work. Panic attacks are subconscious and can kick in even when the rest of you is strong and steady, and can even happen when life is going good. However, the stressors that have been affecting me affect my job. If we were in a scientific or scholarly arena, and it was my job to do this, then things like blocking people would probably not be very skeptical at all. However, I'm not paid to do this. This is just the internet, and if I feel like I can't deal with someone, my job and my health come first. You are not so important that your arguments against my presentation grants you the ability to post on my wall. For the longest time, I would answer pretty much anyone, and I had a very high tolerance for people who were even trolling, usually 3 posts exchanged, but then again, my classroom's kind of organized chaos anyway, so it actually works better that way because I can do a one-on-one open explanation. But that's not true about everyone. I can't judge anyone who blocks anyone else. Everyone who is on here has varying levels of mental strength and thickness of skin. The argument is made that, well, it's the internet, so toughen up or get out, which means that only the loudest assholes without other stressors in their life will be on the internet and making this a crappy place to be indeed.
It ceases to be a marketplace of ideas where the ideas stand on their own accord, and it becomes a cartel or mafia of ideas where only the strongest messengers survive and not the strongest messages. We've had that for millennia, called religious or political dogma, and last time I checked, that's what we were fighting.
Quite possibly, one of the things that allowed YouTube atheism to thrive was a crappy economy. Joblessness is stressful, but you have a lot of time to kill, and actually doing something over nothing is nurturing. Once the economy started picking up and people's lives began filling up with large to-do lists, YouTube became more of a stress than an outlet.
A recent study linked in the bottom bar showed a serious drop-off in the number of deconversions in the US. I'm sure this would have nothing to do with a certain amount of infighting. This kind of bullying and vilification tactic that seems to have invaded the YouTube atheist community, and the ability to agree to disagree and live and let live, has ensured that we aren't there for the people who are coming out of religion, and instead we're busy trying to shout the angriest at each other. Having many ideas and polite disagreement used to be what made the atheist community strong, because we were all trying different things. The best thing to do if you disagree with someone is to keep calm, state your case without using emotionally charged language, and if it still doesn't work out, ignore them, and they will succeed or fail on their own. If you need to, block them and work harder on doing your own thing and spend less time and energy attacking someone else. Anyone can destroy. It takes a real talent to create and nurture.
Blocking people may be a reason to be suspected of intellectual dishonesty or trying to insulate yourself, or it may be that you just don't have the time or energy to deal with an argument you've heard 1,000,000,000 times that someone is insistent that you go over again. That is your right to free speech. It's your property. It's your way or the highway, and if they want to say something, they need to say it in their space. And if they want you to see it or debate it, they can invite you to their space and not try and use passive-aggressive guilting to get you to let them continue bullying them on your page, because for some reason they assert you need to take the moral high ground, and if you don't let them, you're taking away their free speech. This is the same argument the Christian right uses, that's an infringement on the religious right to restrict them from bullying suspected gay students in school. It's a bully tactic and you don't have to take it. You aren't paid to put up with that. This is a hobby, not a career.